and I'm just getting my hands shaking. I'm like, don't screw up, Barnes. Don't screw up. Like, this is your only opportunity.
Welcome, friends and fans, to another edition of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we are going back under the sea with two amazing guests from Disney's 1989 classic, The Little Mermaid. Our first guest is an actor whose body of work includes the Brady Bunch movies, Starman, and several animated versions of Spider-Man. Today, he joins us as the voice of Prince Eric in the original Little Mermaid. Please welcome back everyone's friend, Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Hey, hi, everybody.
Hey, Christopher, how are you, sir?
Doing great, doing very well. It's a beautiful day, and I'm glad to be back at GalaxyCon.
Glad to have you back. So this little chin wag you got going on there, that's new.
Well, it's I'm moving into my my King Eric phase from Prince Eric to maybe some of the King Triton's wearing off on me. So I've been trying to work out a lot and embrace my inner Viking. So besides, the beard is just crazy out of control. I had to kind of tame it in a little. So
all right, there you go. Well, Christopher, as always, great to have you back. Glad everything is doing well in your corner of the world.
Good to be here.
And next, she is an actress and singer whose body of work includes The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Lamp Laszlo, and the highly undervalued series The Pirates of Darkwater. Today, she joins us to discuss the role of Princess Ariel herself. Please welcome back the always lovely Jodi Benson.
Yay! Hey, friends. Hello, Betty, Christopher. It's nice to see you both again.
Always good to see you.
So great to see you. Oh, Jodi, how you doing in your corner of the world?
Doing great. Very thankful, feeling very blessed, and so happy to join all of you again today on GalaxyCon Live. And this is the first time I've gotten to see Christopher since our last virtual greeting. We haven't seen each other in person, so hopefully that's going to happen in 2022, right, Christopher?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
2022, and well, we're about halfway through 2022, so we can always carry those hopes over into 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely. Well, friends, our team is going through the chat room right now, pulling out the questions for us. Oh, what have I not asked you guys about this by now? Oh my. I'll tell you this much. What out of all the promotional materials, out of all the items, out of all the wonderful things that Disney has done with the imagery and the iconography of the Little Mermaid, what was the one thing that either maybe you saw when somebody brought to you for an autograph, or just maybe you saw something at Disney headquarters? What's like the one thing related to the Little Mermaid that just made you go, huh, that's interesting. Can I get one of those?
Yes, absolutely. I take photos when I go to conventions and see items that I've never seen before. I just saw recently a Christmas ornament, a holiday ornament for the tree of Vanessa looking in a mirror and with this like hologram of turning into Ursula. And I had never seen that before. So I'm like, oh, can I take a picture of, I always ask permission. Can I take a picture of that? And of course I can never find these items that these people, wonderful find. So then I started to ask people when I would find an item, like, where did you get it? And is it open to somebody else? So yeah, that was something I don't really ever see any Vanessa items at all. How about you, Christopher?
I think I was most surprised by the first time I saw some of the large dolls. That it was just amazing. It wasn't just like a little figurine. I mean, these things were just incredible, and the detail and I was so surprised that it was so detailed, and the craftsmanship that went into it. So yeah, that was very surprising to me. And again, some of the porcelain statues that you'll see, just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. It's way out of my price range, but yeah, the statues and the character design maquettes, the reproductions of those. It's like, yeah. If I had the resources and the room, there'd be a whole wall of nothing but them from the Disney properties.
That's right.
And Jodi, I think it's absolutely adorable that you ask permission if you can take a photo of it, as if anyone's going to say no to you.
Well, I mean, it is their personal item, so I don't want to, be disrespectful, but yes, everyone has said yes so far. I've asked, oh, that's really cool. I've never seen that before. Can I take a picture of it? But it's amazing how people find these treasures. And I'm amazed that they can find them. You know, if they're deep diving on website, I guess they're going into some kind of stores or websites, but I don't seem to have that kind of luck. So I have to ask the fans.
Sometimes when we do GalaxyCon, or I'll get something to sign that Jodi has already signed, and it'll be this amazing, like oil on canvas. I mean, or this statue, and I'm just getting my hands shaking. I'm like, don't screw up, Barnes. Don't screw up. Like, this is your only opportunity. So I sign like 10 times on a scratch piece of paper. I measure it out. I've got my wife is like, honey, just relax. Okay, that's one down. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna screw it up.
Chris, I do the exact same thing in Phoenix in May. I was in Phoenix and I had to do two tats on people's arms.
Oh my goodness.
And they wanted, my signature and then Ariel's signature. And my hand just started to shake. So I was like, okay, all right, I need to go wash my hands really, really well. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to practice several times on your arm, on this piece of paper before I touch your arm, because if I goof up, you're going to have to go to the bathroom and try to wipe off this black Sharpie for the next 30 minutes. Then your arm's going to be all irritated and then come back for take 2. But yeah, that was really stressful. It's like a one chance only.
That's the thing. That's it. And it's funny being to a lot of these conventions.
All right, rail in there.
Exactly. But like going to these conventions, one of the things that I really noticed is that, sometimes, and people pointed this out about the care and the attention that you give in particular to all the fans that come up. And, I was thinking about that. And because some people aren't that attentive to they just kind of like sign and move on. Jodi's always very, very attentive. And I was, my wife and I were talking about that. And my wife said to me, she says, but, honey, you do this and you sign 1,000 of these. And so does Jodi. She goes, but that may be that only time that person gets to have that experience. Right. So like, and I know that because Jodi feels that way and I feel that way too. So it's like, this is their, like, don't screw up because this is their time, and other people you see. Right. And so many times people come up to Jodi and us and said that, thank you for being so nice. And I remember thinking when I went to a couple conventions, I was like, well, that's just a weird thing to have somebody say to you, thank you for being nice. And I realized it's because the attention that Jodi and I give, it's because not everybody does it. And it's like, it's important. It's important.
Yeah. Everybody needs to have their 3 minutes of privacy, and you want everybody else in the line to give you the space so you can have a one-on-one conversation that's private. I mean, it's a private conversation. You don't even want your handlers or your line managers to listen, because it is. They're sharing their story. They're sharing the first time they saw the film and how it made them feel and who they were with and what they were wearing. And it's very intimate, So you do want to give each one of the amazing fans that privacy of those 2 or 3 minutes of time. So you want to make eye contact with them and let them know that you're really listening to them, So
exactly.
And again, and I have said this before to both of you. I absolutely commend you guys at the tables. I've had the pleasure of observing you both, and you really do. You really take the time. You really take the care, and that doesn't always happen. Yeah, there's some people that will get on autopilot, and but you guys absolutely do not. You really cherish your fans, and you really cherish giving them that. For lack of it, to borrow a term from Disney, you give them a magical moment.
Yeah. We're thankful. We've got the sweetest fans in the world. We really do.
You sure do.
Absolutely. And speaking of those sweet fans, we are good to go to audience questions. So as always, thank you for indulging my capricious curiosity. Let's go ahead and see what we've got from the audience. And starting us off is going to be Jess, who wants to know, which of your hobbies would you teach your character? So what would you want them to teach you? Wow.
Which of your hobbies would you teach your character, and what would you want them to teach you?
Okay.
Jess, I'm going to put that one in my back pocket for future use.
Want to go first, Jodi?
Okay. So I'm just going to say the first thing that came to my mind would be to teach Ariel how to snow ski. I don't know. Obviously, she's going to have her legs unless she's on a snowboard. I guess she could do a snowboard with her tail. So that was the first thing that came to my mind. Then the thing that I would want to learn from her is how to do like spiral dives under the water and flips under the water, because I always get water in my nose and stuff like that when I used to do that as a kid. So those are just two random things that came to my mind.
That works. And I think we've talked about it before. I would love to see Ariel's reaction to snow and frozen water.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wait, this is water? Wait, what? Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you think?
I'm thinking, I'd like to learn how to play the flute, maybe, or the. I'd like to teach Prince Eric. Maybe I could teach him some yoga. Yoga is very important to rule a kingdom, right?
Yeah. To have that peace and inner peace, and
exactly.
That would be amazing. Those are great ideas. I love that.
You play the flute?
No.
Eric plays.
Well,
Eric, that's okay. Yeah. That's right. He does.
No,
not the flute, but his little.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is. I don't know. Yeah.
What that was.
Yeah.
A windpipe thing.
Flute record. Yeah, could have spent a credit on that too.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Well, Jess, that was a fantastic question. Thank you for starting us off with that one. All right. See, we still get stuff that we never hit before. That's
right.
What do we have next? From Ian. What other Disney characters would you love to meet?
Other Disney characters would you love to meet?
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
And again, Disney does include Marvel and Star Wars if you want to go off in those questions.
Again, the very first character, again, I'm not thinking about it. It's just like it popped into my head, was Captain Hook. What a crazy character. I guess I'd like to meet him because he immediately came to my mind for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, you're a grown up, so he wouldn't have any beef with you.
Yeah, maybe I just want to ask him some questions, like why are you mean to children, and what happened to you as a child that you became so angry? And
let's talk about this. Let's talk about this baggage you had with this accident with your hand, because I think that's at the root of a lot of your anger.
Right. Like, what's going on with you? Yeah, that came to my mind. Okay.
There you go.
It's a good one.
There you go.
Geez, there's so many characters in the whole universe. I don't know. Well, it's the Marvel universe too now, right? So, right. I mean, I just couldn't resist having a conversation with Doctor Strange. I think that would be a really interesting.
Right.
Especially my yoga background. I'd definitely like to have a conversation about that.
Hey, that would be fun.
That's interesting. I would have leaned towards you would have wanted to meet your alter ego, Spider-Man himself.
Mm-hmm. I thought that too.
Well, yeah. Well, like in the multiverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely would. All right, Ian, great one. Thank you for that. And what do we have next? From Daniel. What's everyone's favorite song from The Little Mermaid?
Well, I'm a big fan of Part of Your World, but I really also love Kiss the Girl. I love Kiss the Girl because I love the little frogs doing the kissy sound with their big lips, and it's just such an adorable scene.
I feel the same way. Part of Your World, I think, is iconic. I think that is not just a great moment from The Little Mermaid, but I mean, that's an iconic Disney moment. That scene spiraling up from the grotto with the hair. I mean, that's movie history. That's just movie history. And you did it so beautifully. So and it's so iconic. It's such an archetypal moment in the human condition, a young coming of age story. It's just beautiful. So and Kiss the Girl, again, two very, very human moments, that are just that will resonate through time and have resonated through time for decades because they're so central to the human condition, I think.
Yeah. And of course, the Oscar winner is Under the Sea, which is brilliant. I love the lyrics and everything, but musically speaking, I'm drawn towards, I think, Part of Your World and Kiss the Girl, I guess. Maybe just the ballad feeling or something. But yeah, can't go wrong with Oscar-winning Under the Sea as well.
Not at all.
It's a hard question. It's a very hard question. But there you have it, Daniel. Thank you for that one. And what do we have next? And from Adeline. I'm sorry this week. what was the audition process like? We've talked about this in earlier installments, but yeah, absolutely. Let's go into this real quick.
You go first.
Very simple audition process. I just went in and I was in the booth. I read the material. I didn't think much of it. This is before Disney. This is a long time ago. So this is before the new age of what Disney would become. But the Little Mermaid sort of ushered in an entire new time in Disney. I just went in. I read the material in the booth, not thinking much of it. Thought, well, this is pretty cool. A young prince, I can do that. I mean, I was 15 at the time, so and that was it. Then I got the call. Oh, hey, they want you for that job. I thought, well, that's great. That sounds like a lot of fun. A Disney movie. Wow, what's that going to be like? And then little did I know, decades later, it would have become an iconic, wonderful, iconic film.
Yeah. My audition was in '86, and it was in a dance studio at NOLA Studios in New York, just in a dance hall, rehearsal room with a reel-to-reel tape and a little microphone, and laid down a couple lines and a bit of the song from Howard Ashman's cassette tape that I studied that they had given me. And then a year later, I got the call at a payphone at 16th and Broadway saying that I had gotten Ariel, and I asked what an Ariel was because I didn't know what that was, and totally forgot about it because it was just really a consolation prize after our Broadway show Smile closed with Howard Ashman, and he felt sorry for us. So he invited a handful of girls to audition for his next project, which was The Little Mermaid. So I'd never been behind a microphone. I wasn't in a studio and never thought I would get the job in a million years. So, and then after that, we were never going to be announced. It was going to be hidden. And if you bought a VHS and stopped the tape, you might be able to figure out who's who, but it was never to be revealed who we were until about 7 weeks before when I went on press junket, 22 cities in 20 days. And that's kind of when things started shifting. We thought, this isn't a one and done. This is feeling different. And then once the movie came out, everything after that changed. And so everything was a surprise, for all of us. We really had no idea that we'd ever talk about it again, let alone 35 years later, here we are chatting on GalaxyCon, which is crazy.
The gig that keeps gigging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so. And for those of our audience that do not know what a payphone is or a VHS, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to me, care of GalaxyCon, and I will write you back and explain it. And if you don't know what a self-addressed stamped envelope is, I can't help you.
Yeah, and I got the call from my agent on a pager. I don't think people know what a pager is.
Right. We'll add pager to the list as well.
So that was a long time ago.
Wow. And yeah, to get those calls, you had to be connected with the beepers and the pagers because, can you get over this thing right now and do a reading? You have a window of a half hour, or they're going to pick somebody else. So. And
you better have a roll of dimes and a roll of quarter in your dance bag because there's no payphones without coins. So, you had to scrounge around to the bottom of your backpack to find some coins to make the call to your agent, which was always miraculous if you had something in the bottom of the bag. So there's just the whole thing is just so funny that when I tell that to kids today, they all just kind of look at me like I have, two heads. So
you run into the coffee shop, a convenience store, buy a pack of gum just to get the change.
Exactly. Right.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it.
We're like the old people with the phone on the wall, like operator 259, get me 434,
get me Broadway 667.
Right now they don't even know what this means. They're like, what is he doing that for?
There you have it. Adelaide, what a fun question. Thank you so much. Oh, and here's one from B Wood 83. If you were to do a project together, what would you want it to be?
Wow.
Something Marvel? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes. That would be awesome.
Something is there a senior citizen superhero for me?
Oh, but are you kidding? You can do anything.
Senior citizen, though. You know, like she doesn't have to be like a physical superhero. She could use her brain. She could use her voice. Her voice could be her power, right? Let's do that.
I think that
yes, there are a couple of Marvel heroines that have like sort of super vocal powers where they can kind of like they could yell and it's like a sonic boom type thing, or it's a disorientating to evildoers. So
that's what
yes, there are
a Marvel project together. That's what we're gonna do next.
I would be totally down with that. That would be super cool. I would like to play a character where Spider-Man isn't real. He's just a fictional character, and he's given life by an actor, and then have and then we can have a crossover with your awesome character.
Yes. Yeah. Or I could play your mother or something like that. So
stop it! What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm like an old geriatric. I'm like the old. I can barely get out of bed now. I'm like, you know how I'm getting old? I make noise when I stand up and when I sit down. I'm like, get up and sit. That's how you know you're getting old. And I work out 2 hours a day, and I'm still like, I gotta get up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, I'm laughing, but it's true. It's true. You hear me coming up the stairs in our house, and you hear me coming down the stairs. It's like crickety crackety crickety crackety. But hey, we're still moving. We're still in it. We're in it to win it.
Still in the fight, absolutely. B Wood, very fun question. Thank you for that. What do we have next? And from Shada, what scene did you enjoy recording the most?
I wonder. For me, obviously, it's going to be being in the studio with Howard Ashman recording Part of Your World for that week. That was magical, and I have those memories that I get to hold on forever. And every time I sing the song, which is every week, I get to have that memory recall, that core memory of being back in the studio with him. So yeah, that's my favorite part.
I was alone in the studio. I didn't because obviously I didn't have any songs. But I remember being in the studio and seeing the video camera that they were using. They had this old video camera, and I remember thinking, "What are they doing with the video camera?" And then they said, "Well, we're going to kind of video you to incorporate some of your expressions." And I thought, "Wow, that's so futuristic. I mean, that's so space age cool." I just remember thinking, because I was 15. So seeing that kind of very cool, high tech, magical moment I'll always remember that.
That's so awesome. That's great.
Shana, great question. Thank you. And what do we have next? From Ethan. Who is your favorite Disney sidekick?
Oh my goodness.
You'll have to take this one because I'm
favorite Disney sidekick. I know the one that makes me laugh the most. It was probably pretty obscure. In The Great Mouse Detective, which is one of my favorite Disney films and one of my favorite Disney villains, Ratigan, Vincent Price. Fidget, his little bat, his little deformed bat. Fidget he would hobble along. He was just a really funny sidekick.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot this character's name, but what came to my mind again is the first thing that kind of scrolled up in my brain was the sidekick to Hercules that I think was
Danny DeVito's character.
Danny DeVito, and who's that character?
Yeah, it was
I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, that's what came up in my mind. I think he's hysterical. I love the physicality of that character, and of course, I love his voice. His voice on that was
the character was called Phil, short for Philatites, I believe.
Yes.
It was a long Greek name. They kind of short to Phil.
Phil, I love that. Yes, that
Yeah.
came to my mind. Of course, there's always Flounder. I mean, Flounder is just an adorable sidekick and so funny. Yeah, that's it. I just think the animation is hysterical, because it looks like him, and oh my gosh, just so funny. Made me laugh.
That's great.
Yeah, but of course, it'd be horrible as Ariel if I didn't say Flounder, because Flounder's adorable. Adorable.
Yes. Absolutely.
And Max. Max is the best sidekick for a prince.
Yes, Max is so cute.
Max is the best.
Since you mentioned Captain Hook earlier, I kind of went to Mr. Smee.
Captain Hook's Mr. Smee.
Because he's just so bumbling. He seems rather quite innocent, and he doesn't seem to understand that he's supposed to be a bad guy.
Right. Yes, exactly. I think he just kind of got caught up in it, but he's really, really sweet. And then he's like, gee, how'd I get this job?
Was it Bob Hoskins who played him in the movie? Was it Bob?
Yes. He played him in the movie Hook, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So funny.
Such an adorable
great character.
Death is the only thing left. Are you getting you back again, Captain? It's so funny.
Very funny. Such a cute one.
Yes. Ethan, very fun question. Thank you for that one. And let's roll another one. And here's one from Hannah. Ooh, what are some of your favorite Comic-Con moments?
Ooh, okay.
Besides the time you were on stage with me.
That's right. Every time we're on stage with you, it's so fantastic. I think the times that I have been part of wedding proposals and baby announcements.
Wow.
They're extra fun when I don't know that I'm going to be part of it. And I'm surprised just as much as the bride. And those I'm like, I'm just as excited, if not more excited than whoever they're proposing to, who's supposed to be surprised, and they are, but I'm even more surprised. So yeah, I've done a handful of wedding proposals and baby proposals. And those are really fun. I mean, it's just kind of a unique thing to do at a con that, you don't normally get to do.
Sure. That's
I think my favorite moment at a con, actually it's happened a couple of times, but this one in particular, a young man, he told me that watching Spider-Man as a boy helped him deal with getting bullied in school. And that hit on so many levels because, a lot of bad things can happen when young men feel bullied at school. Like a lot of bad things can happen. So for him to tell me that meant a lot to me. Is my performance and the character that gave him hope and strength to endure and persevere and have hope. And that one meant a lot to me. It still does. And anytime anybody says something like that to me, I've heard people have said that to me. There was things like that on several occasions, and that means a lot. So that's what it is.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful moment. And again, going back to what we were talking about before, that you just making eye contact, taking that time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe at the most, is life-changing for another individual. And that's the other thing, is realizing that to us, as we're meeting and greeting people for 8 hours a day for 3 days, let's say, but like you said, for that one person, this is their one moment in time. And what you said to that person and how you were empathetic and listening to them can change the course of their life forever in a couple of minutes. And so having that different perspective of putting ourselves in their position, realizing, wow, that's what it feels like, I mean, I can relate, like there's one person I've never met, Barbara Streisand, who I would love to meet on my bucket list, if it ever worked out. But I think about how much she's impacted me, my voice, my acting, my career since I was 9 years old. To this day, I still study her music. I listen to her recordings. I do her songs in symphony. And if I had my 2 minutes with her to be able to say, you've been a part of my life for, 50 plus years, impacting me, and you've changed the course of my life forever, but it's never happened. I never met her to be able to give her my 2 minute story.
Well, you've given many 2 minutes, and I tell you, because I get a lot of downtime when I'm at the cons because I don't have nearly the same traffic as you. I mean, I'll be sitting back having a juice box and a and a granola bar, and Jodi's got 300 people still. I mean, it's nonstop. It's nonstop, and I just watch her. And I'm just like, I'm like, it's amazing. She just goes for hours, like nonstop. I'm sipping I'm relaxing. I'm kicking back, and it's amazing to see just the level of attention for.
But again, it's like putting ourselves in their position.
Yeah.
And I can do that with my little story of being a child and the way that a person influenced me and made an impact and kind of changed the trajectory of my career forever. Yeah. So I don't know, it just makes it so much more special to know that, okay, we're going to focus on these people one at a time, just one story at a time. And and it's gonna be wonderful. But for that person, this is it. This is all they get, is that little window. So we want to make the most of it for them.
The fans come to both of you as grateful, and you respond with gratitude, and I think that's highly commendable.
We're thankful. We're thankful. Without them, we wouldn't be doing anything. Yeah. Well, Chris would. Chris is, you have a whole other career. For somebody like me, what the heck would I be doing, if we didn't have people that enjoyed the film? I mean, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. So after 35 years, so we're grateful for a 35-year long run on something that was supposed to be a one and done.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hannah, wonderful question. Thank you so much. And what do we have next? And here's one from Jolene. Oh, what would your characters be doing right now?
Okay, you go first.
All right, let's see. Probably, obviously, overseeing the international trade agreements between, whatever kingdom. He'd be King Eric, right? There'd be King. Yeah. So there'd be. I like to think that Eric and Ariel would have ruled the kingdom so wisely and so well together that there would be peace and prosperity in the land, and they would be spending most of their time with their grandchildren, their grandchildren. That's my happy ending for that.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I immediately went to, by this point, they would have had their 4 or 5 kids. They probably have anywhere from 10 to 12 grandchildren now, because it's been 35 years.
That's right.
And they've worked hard and they've served well for their kingdom. So I'm hoping that they're on the shore, swimming and playing with the kids and the grandkids.
Exactly. Health, freedom, family.
Yeah.
You got various, some of the grandkids have fishtails and some have legs, and this is wonderful to see them all playing with the cousins, all playing with each other and all that.
I think everybody in our family line has the ability to live in both worlds. Totally. And I think probably some of our kids and grandkids live primarily under the sea, and some probably live primarily on land. Of course, it's their choice, but they all have the ability. That's how I'm going to think about it.
I totally agree with you. I think that's exactly right.
Yes.
Yep.
And of course, Eric
that's our story.
Uses scuba equipment. So Eric uses scuba equipment because I don't know if he has the ability to have a fin. Do you have the ability to have a fin?
I don't believe. I don't believe so. But there's magic, and magic spells can be cast to create magical bubbles that go.
That's right.
Or I could just see an early era breathing apparatus thing.
Yes.
Somebody's on the ship doing the bellows and pumping the air to him,
Or a big bubble. He just has a big bubble over his head, so he can
works
calm down.
Absolutely. Oh, Jolene, wonderful question. Thank you for that one. And what do we have next? And from Anonymous. And this is why it's anonymous. They want to hold you to a favorite character in the Little Mermaid. I will recuse you from naming yourself. Let's say this way: who's? I'll rephrase this. Who's just a favorite character from the Little Mermaid that you particularly like? You don't have to declare a favorite; just one of your favorites.
Right, and it can't be who we play. It can't
Yeah.
be beat. But-
Yeah, well,
So I'm going to go with Pat Carroll's Ursula. That's what
Yeah, I'm gonna join you on that.
brilliant.
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant. Unstoppable, the one and only.
Iconic.
Yeah.
I agree.
It was, and losing her recently was, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, she had an
absolutely-
amazing life. She had an amazing career that spanned, at least 75 years, I think, of a
Amazing.
career. Very successful career. Very, very much of a loved by family and friends, and had an incredibly full life all the way up. She was supposed to join us in person for D23 2019 for the 30th anniversary special that I hosted. She was supposed to come in person, and at the last minute was unable to travel. But I'll be darned, she went ahead and shot a whole thing on video for the audience there at D23, and they went crazy when she came on the camera. And she was well into her 90s at the time. I mean, it was unbelievable, and she can still do that. She could do that cackle. She could do all the lines verbatim. Totally memorized lines, delivering them exactly like she did in the film, which is so impressive. Just an amazing woman.
Yeah, absolutely agree. See, well, Anonymous, there you go. Thank you. Good question. Then we have time for a few more. Let's see, what do we have next? And here's one from Elena. Did either of you have a ritual before voicing either your characters or any other characters you've done in animation? Any vocal exercises or keywords like I'm amazing, Spider-Man.
Funny you should mention Spider-Man, because one of the things that I would always do when I was playing Spider-Man was I would almost always close my eyes when I was doing the voiceover, because I would imagine, I was such a fan of the comics as a kid, and I could always imagine him doing the activities, and because they were always so amazing, they were just very acrobatic and intense activities. I would just close my eyes and I would imagine him doing it, and I've never done that for any other character, but I would do that with him because I would imagine it so much in my mind, and I think that kind of helped convey some of the, I don't know, the dynamism to the character or something. But I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I mean, I think for me it would require a good 8-hour sleep the night before, and a ton of water. And I would do vocal exercises, even if it were just going to be dialogue days. But obviously for singing days, we definitely have to do that. And I think for me, and like Chris, I mean, I think for me, I don't sit down when I'm in the studio recording any character. I'm always standing up. And because I'm a theater kid, I fully act everything out physically, which is always a challenge for the engineers, as long as I don't brush air across the mic, touch the mic. But I physically do have to act everything out. That I'm always amazed when I see somebody in the studio completely lifeless and not moving, and they can do it. I'm so impressed by that. I cannot, unfortunately.
I'm the same way. I can't do that either. It's a funny story. I've told the story in the past, but when I was first doing Spider-Man, they had a problem with the mic. I kept going off mic, and they couldn't figure it out. The engineer would come in, he'd adjust the mic, I'd do the line, everything fine. He'd go back and we'd start recording, and it would be off mic. And somebody realized, do Peter Parker? I was doing it, and now Spider-Man. And what it was, I had my eyes closed. Because I was crouching. I was going into this spider stance.
Yeah.
I was doing Peter Parker, spider stance. Peter Parker, spider stance. I'm just going off the mic. And so they finally, I was like, okay. So it took a while to do that the same way, because I was still physical with it.
That is so funny. When I did Barbie for Toy Story 2 and 3, I was so sore because I made myself immobile in the ways that she is immobile and unable to move. So everything was stiff arm and through the chest, so it was, in order to figure out what her voice was like, I had to figure out what her limitations were, physically. She's not fluid, and she's not like this, like Ariel. She's just, she's like
that's
robot.
amazing. That's really interesting. It's almost like a form of kind of like method acting voiceover. It's weird, right?
I mean, it is weird, but I think it just, for me, doing it as if we were on stage just made the most practical sense.
Totally.
And
Absolutely. That's an amazing story. I didn't know that. That's a great story.
The chair, just sitting back in a chair, doing these lines. I was like, oh no, I don't think that's going to work for me. I think we're going to have to figure something else out. As long as I did hit the mic, the problem was I'm half Italian, so I use my hands all the time when I talk. So that got to be a problem, hitting the mic, making noise in front of the mic. Yeah, but I figured that out after the first week or so. I stopped doing that.
I got the Italian blood too, so I'm with you.
Finally, the engineers were like, "Would you stop?" I'm so sorry. But yeah, we all made it through. We had to figure out whatever it takes to get the job done. Really, honestly, that's what we have to do.
Yeah, I learned in my experience real quick that just I plant my feet and I just imagine that they're stuck there. I'll shake and move and hands, everything else too, but I always imagine my feet are trapped there, and that will keep me close enough on mic. Occasionally, It's like, don't weave around too much for that character. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. All that matters is that final take that they use. That's what you got to get to.
That's right. As long as
how you get there is everybody's methodology.
Get the job done. It doesn't matter.
Indeed. I think we have time for one more, so let's see if we can go out on a really fun one. And this is going to come from Hamer or Hammer. I apologize there too. What's your favorite thing about Flounder and Sebastian? Why is he the most likable fish in the sea?
Oh, that's so cute. Let's see. My favorite thing about Flounder is his, and I may not say this word right, so correct me, Christopher, because you're so good with grammar, but is it naivete? Is that how you say it?
Sure, naivete,
yeah. Naivete. That he's naive. That's what I love about Flounder. So naive, like just oblivious to everything, but so ingratiating and like passionate about everything, even though he has no clue what's really going on. I just find that hysterical. I think that's so funny. And Sebastian, what I love about him is that he thinks he's all that, and he thinks he's something, but he's, 2 inches tall. And that just cracks me up because he just truly believes, I am ruling the roost. I am in charge. I mean, obviously the king is in charge, but I'm just as important as King Triton. And he just shows this, I don't know, he's just ballsy. I mean, he's just got so much bravado about him, but he's this big, so that makes me laugh. That's what I love about both of those characters.
Yeah, I absolutely. I feel the same way. I also would say that I think in very, very different ways, they are both profoundly committed and loyal to Ariel, and those are very endearing, and they express that very differently. But they're just such dear, true friends, and so the loyalty and love they have, I think those are the most endearing traits, I would say.
Yeah, that's so true. So
absolutely. Hamer, great question. And Jodi, Christopher, as always, it's been an absolute delight. Any final words for our audience before we take our leave?
We just appreciate all of you fans. We really do. After 35 plus years, we're grateful and thankful. And it's wonderful to get to spend this time with all of you. Absolutely. Gratitude. So much gratitude. Thank you all. Thank you all. This is always a wonderful experience. And today was no different. This is always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Absolutely. It has been my absolute pleasure to serve you. As always, once again, thank you for joining us on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Thank you to our audience for joining us. And thank you for some really great questions today. And until then, everybody, please take care. Bye-bye. And remember, friends, smiles are free, so spend them often. I love that. That's great. Oh, what do we got? Oh! Yes!